So we were talking about Red Bull, the other Red Bull, Alex Albon, who for the first half of the race after Lance Stroll was starting to fall off, I honestly thought that he was going to probably win the race. He was in the best position after Perez was struggling with his tires later on, and then he was just flying. I mean, he was the fastest guy on track. He was seconds faster than the cars behind him. And it seemed like, okay, Albon's in a perfect position to, at the very least, get a podium finish, if not win the race. And then, once again, just made a simple mistake, spun. I believe it was lap 34. I can't exactly remember which turn it was. I believe maybe it was turn 5. Spun around, and then obviously Hamilton passed him, and then eventually Verstappen caught up, got by him as well. And then eventually Albon did come home in P7, which was quite disappointing, just to see where he was. And obviously his teammate finished ahead as well. But I just kind of wanted to throw this question up to, we've been talking about Albon pretty much every weekend for the last couple of months now. And this race obviously was a great sort of contrast between him and the man that's been rumored to be a candidate for his seat next season, and that's Sergio Perez. So let me pose the question to you. After the Turkish Grand Prix, who do you think is in, let's say, pole position to get that Red Bull seat in 2021? Is it Alex Albon, or is it now Sergio Perez after his performance?
I think Red Bull would be silly not to put Sergio Perez in that car. I mean, it would be a travesty if he is not in a top tier car for next season, because he's shown this year how much potential he has. I think other than he scored in every race except for the two that obviously he missed because of COVID.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, consistency is there for Sergio. He's proven week in, week out that he deserves to be in F1. So if he's not on the grid in general next year, it's a shame, because he should be on the grid next year for sure. But if Red Bull wants someone to get them a lot of points, push Max, help the strategy to fight the Mercedes next year, Sergio Perez is the man to do it. And he should 100% be in that Red Bull seat for next season. And it's nothing against Alex Albon. He's a fantastic driver. He's going to do great things in F1, but he needs some more time to learn. He's not ready for that Red Bull seat, in my opinion. And I think another year or two at AlphaTauri would be fantastic for him.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I think it would be absolute travesty if Sergio Perez, after this season, not just the last couple seasons, obviously his body of work speaks for itself, but just this season alone, what he's been able to achieve in a car that's been more competitive than the last couple of years. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for some of the mistakes from his team, he probably would have at least another podium, if not more, throughout the season. So I think that Red Bull, if they don't put Sergio Perez in that car for next season, they're really going to regret their decision. Now, personally, deep down, I think that they're still going to stick with Alex Albon. Of course, I've mentioned this so many times because of the 51% tie ownership of Red Bull. And Johnny Herbert finally made this comment on the broadcast, I believe, in one of the FP2 sessions it was. And I really haven't heard any of the official kind of pundits maybe talk about that element of this seat, but he finally brought it up. And I think that he's absolutely right. And it's what I've been saying, that they want to keep Albon. It's not just about the driver's skill anymore, as we're clearly seeing with how the grid is shaping up. It's about more. It's about sponsorship. It's about what you can bring. And putting all that aside, I think that the easiest decision would be to put Perez in that car. When you see what he did in this race, but also all the other races, like that's a crazy stat. The fact that he's fourth in the championship now after missing 2 races, he's scored in every other race. The only other guy to do that is the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton this season. So a combination of Perez and Verstappen, I think, would really be what Red Bull needs right now in this era to fight Mercedes, because I still think Mercedes are going to be the best car and team in 2021. And the only way for Red Bull to even inch close or challenge for the championship is to have 2 cars on regularly equal footing. And I think that Perez is just the perfect guy for the candidacy to line up next to Verstappen.
Yeah, 100%. Going back to the whole Perez thing, he has to go in that seat. There's no other choice. It would be nice, but he would still. Alex Albon will still be in the Red Bull family with AlphaTauri and representing Red Bull there. So I don't know. I think that you can still get the money and the publicity, but have Albon in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, because to me, let's say if they don't and they stick with Alex Albon, which I do eventually think will happen, what happens if Albon has another similar year to this year and Red Bull are in a similar position where Albon's way down the field and Mercedes are running away with it again, and Verstappen's just left alone to try and fight two cars, they're going to really regret not having Perez, especially if Perez is sitting at home or racing in another series. But I just think it's ridiculous for a guy like him to not have a seat. And I know that the whole conversation again circles back to the whole, well, Lance Stroll and all that stuff. But again, he's proven his worth in Formula One. You've talked about this a million times about having more teams, which would help with this solution and this problem. But it's going to be interesting to see what the decision is. But I really thought that the Turkish Grand Prix, like Red Bull's just kind of waiting for Albon to have that one good race that will justify the renewal of his contract. And I thought that this was going to be that race, especially if he was to win it. And again, he just kind of continued his sort of poor run of form. He was getting way off in qualifying. I know difficult conditions, but in the race too, just struggled as well in the second half of the race. So let's see what happens. Let us know what you guys think. If Perez should be in that seat or Albon or Hulkenberg maybe, but I think that Perez is sort of the leading candidate right now, just with what he's shown us. So yeah, interesting times ahead, I think, for Red Bull.